Hello everybody, this is Tomoyuki, the Mac Knight channel, obviously. I guess you guys should know me by well. If you don't, then whatever, it's fine. I'm not a very well-known person anyway. Anyway, I did a video last week on, if I'm not mistaken, it was why the 7th edition Skitarii Codex and Cult Mechanicus Codex were separated instead of being combined into a single Adeptus Mechanicus Codex like in 8th edition. So today though, I thought I was going to do another Blast from the Past video, and this is obviously because it's based on my blog articles, and I felt a sense of nostalgia when I was writing the article. Now I'm doing it as a video, but back then when I was writing this article, I was like feeling this sense of nostalgia. I kind of think 7th edition was okay, but I prefer 8th edition, and now I think 10th edition to 7, I guess, because though I have some fondness for the old Blast templates and armored value facings that we still have Horus Heresy, that we still have in Horus Heresy, excuse me. That's why I play Horus Heresy a lot too. But I really like 10th edition too. Unfortunately, it seems like most people don't really like playing against it, or maybe it's just a vocal minority. I'm not very sure. And apparently, my knights are kind of too strong for casual play for some reason. Apparently, they're not doing well in tournaments, but when I play with them, they seem pretty strong. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm playing them in Crusade. I'm not sure either. Anyway, aside from knights though, I think it'll be fun to talk about what happened when Adeptus Mechanicus first burst into the scene in 7th edition. To do that, I'll need to talk about formations. And before we talk about formations, again, if you prefer to read this instead of listening to my video, listening to my horrible voice droning on and on like her. I don't know. This is some weird lecture because I'm a teaching assistant, so I'm used to doing lecture style delivery. So yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, again, if you prefer to read, that's the link to my blog. You can read it on my blog. I already wrote it. As you can see, I wrote it in November 27 last year instead of I guess April this year. So it's been a while, but since I had no idea what videos to do, I thought I would do a video on this since nobody's talking about formations and stuff back in 7th edition. So yeah, anyway, formations. What exactly are formations? Simply put, in 7th edition, you usually have to put together an army via the standard force organization chart, which look something like this. If it looks familiar, that's because it's the very same one we use in Horus Heresy. And yeah, apparently it's taken from what was this 16legion.com, the 16 Legion being the Luna Wolves slash Sons of Horus. But yeah, I couldn't find it anywhere else. I couldn't find the scans anywhere else. But yeah, I should have a 7th edition rule books lying somewhere, but that's back in Singapore, not in the US. So, and I'm in the US right now. So, yeah. Anyway, so as you can see, the core detachments are something like that. That's the force organization chart. They called it combined sum detachment back then because you can apparently take as many combined sum detachment as you want back then. So you can take like say uh, uh, an extra militarum combined sub detachment. So you can take like I don't know a tank commander, a bunch of I guess Killian shock troops, but we call them infantry squads back then because they weren't separated according to regiments. So you could take like two I guess infantry platoons with all the stuff, or you could take veterans. Yeah, that's actually I think one of my favorite styles to play back in 7th edition. So basically, you take a single tank commander, you take two squads of veterans, put them in chimeras because you want to play a mechanized list, and then you take a bunch of Limeras tanks in your heavy support. So that's basically a command sum detachment. And then you can add another combined sum detachments from say Space Marines, for example. So you take a Space Marine captain or Grey Knight Grandmaster, and you take a bunch of Grey Knight Terminators, and then you run them around with your I guess extra military mechanized list. So it's like this insane, very flexible list that allows you to ally whatever you want. This is also back then where we had that weird allies chart where you had the what was it? Swan Brothers, fellow warriors kind of thing. What was that? Distrustful allies or something like that. And come the apocalypse. Come the apocalypse is like when Imperium faction allies with say Tyranids or Chaos. Obviously, they will never ally with each other unless it's I guess an apocalypse and they are both facing a mutual threat of annihilation, so they're forced to work together. Something like when say the Imperial Fist slash Fist Exemplars in the Beast Arises saga, they had to ally with Iron Warriors to fight against the Orcs because if they don't, they'll be annihilated. So it's that kind of, I guess, flexible narrative back then. So yeah, Or if you want to be more thematic, you could just take a single allied detachment, which nobody ever took because you could take multiple combined arms detachment anyway. So why would you take an allied detachment? The only reason you do that is if you only want to take a single troops choice. So you're like, okay, I don't want to take two compulsory troops choice, so I just need one troops choice, and I don't need, like, I don't know. For example, if you're doing a, I guess I'm doing an Imperial Knight detachment, and then I want to add an allied detachment. I was like thinking, I don't want that many Imperial Guard veteran squads. I just need three Leman Russ tanks. So I take a tank commander, maybe a single veteran squad in the Chimera, and three Leman Russ tanks in the squadron, and that's allied. So to save on points, maybe to save on, I guess, slots, or so that you don't have to buy a second box of infantry troops or something like that, infantry squad. So I guess that's where the allied detachment comes in. So yeah, so this was how you played back in this was how you organize armies back in 7th edition. So yep, as you can see, you have a minimum of one compulsory HQ and two compulsory troops, and then you add whatever you want. There are also special detachments for Imperial Knights, which I was talking about earlier, who can take 3 to 5 Lords of War, which was basically the same as the Super Heavy detachment in 8th edition. And then you have the weird, unique detachments for smaller armies such as the Skitarii, who are obviously missing a HQ. The Harlequins, who also received their first codex back in 7th edition, also didn't have a HQ unit. So yeah, so what do you do if you have armies that have no HQ units? You come up with special detachments because you can't do a combined sum detachment for them. So instead, you come up with something like Skitarii Maniple, or I don't know what it was called for the Harlequins, Harlequin troops, I guess. So you'll notice that there's no HQ choice. Instead, you get two compulsory troops choice, and that's it. And you get 6 additional troops choice for some reason because Daria are cheap. So yeah, the benefits is that you get 4 heavy support instead, because Gitaria has more heavy support uh options than the others. Fast attack, we only had like what, the Sidonian Dragoons back then. So it's like, why do you need that many fast attack choices? You don't need three, you only need two. So you move one over to the heavy support slot because you have plenty of heavy support slots, like Onegan Doomcrawlers, for example. What was the other one? Iron Strider Ballisteri was also a heavy support choice back then. So yeah, and as you can see, they get special rules as well, so it was kind of fun. So if you're taking a Skitari, sorry, excuse me, you're taking a Skitarii maniple, you get command benefits. Everybody gets the basically reroll warlord traits table benefit. The special thing about Skitaria is that your warlord also has a preferred enemy special rule. So if you're like taking a squad full of plasma calibers, and this is back then when I think a 5-man Skitarii ranger slash vanguard squad can take 2 special weapons of any choice, so you can take 2 plasma calibers, or 10-man squad can take 3 plasma calibers. So this was back then when you could customize your loadout instead of just building everything out of the box. Because now I think 10th edition, you guys know what happened. Everything is like according to the box option, so you can only take one of each special weapon now. It was a wild time back then. And in addition to that, all models from detachment have this Crusader and Scout special roles. They cannot outflank, but if you give them infiltrate or something, because I think the Sicarian infiltrators, which was an elite choice, has it, then they can do that. So yeah, or a mission special role, because we have a bunch of weird missions, especially narrative missions back then, which I will cover in another video. But yeah, but it was a really well timed. I'm kind of glad that we combined Skitarii and Cult Mechanicus into Adeptus Mechanicus and gave us a Skitarii Marshal, so that's our HQ choice. Long time coming. They should have given him to us back in 7th edition, but whatever. The weird detachments just made things a lot more confusing. To top it off, with the release of the Necrons Codex in 2015, we had something called formations. The Necrons call it the Decurion. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry, Decurion. So unlike the combined sum detachments or normal Earth Force organization chart they use for your armies, which I shown earlier, formations instead are comprised of specific units that are based on a theme, are subjected to restrictions, but in return they gain powerful thematic roles. Example would be the Skitarii Battle Maniple. So as you can see, the restrictions may say none, but it's actually more rigid than it looks like. For example, in the battle maniple, you can only take exactly one squad as Skitarii Vanguard and one squad as Skitarii Rangers. You can't take two Vanguard squads, you can't take two Ranger squads. So you must take exactly one Vanguard and one Ranger squad. The I don't know how to pronounce this stupid word. Customizability lies in the size of your squad. So you can take 5-man squads back then. So you basically could just do a Skitarii battle maniple with just one box of Skitarii troops. So you just separate them into 5-man squads. So you build 5 Vanguard and 5 Rangers. The 5-man squads can take 2 special weapons. For example, the 5-man Vanguard can take 2 plasma calibers, as I said earlier, and I think I mentioned this earlier. 10-man squad can take 3 special weapons. So yeah, 10 rangers, they can take 3 arc rifles or 2 rock rifles and 1 transuranic arquebus. It was very flexible back then, 7th edition. Those were the days. I kind of feel nostalgic for those days. However, you can't just take 2 squads of Skitaria Vanguard, just one, as I said. And if you take one, you must take 1 squad of Skitaria Rangers because that's what the formation requires. Obviously, according to the formation, you are required to take one of every datasheet available to the Skitarii at that time, with the only exception being you being given the choice of choosing between Sidonian Dragoons or Iron Strider Ballisterii. But they're from the same kit anyway, so yeah, at least you don't have to buy like multiples of those kits. Those kits are like expensive, even back then. The issue, of course, is that you can take up to 6 of each per unit. So ideally, you would have to buy 2 boxes of them. And for the rest, you will need to buy 2 boxes of each. So yeah, such as the Sicarian, Rastalkers, and Infiltrators. Yeah, or you could just do 5-man squads, which is okay, I guess. Uh, but clearly back then, Games Workshop was trying to milk us for all the money because they're trying to get us to buy all the different new units, all the different new models, basically. Anyway, your basic Skitarii formation will look something like this. Pretty cool, right? The battle maniples of the Skitarii are cross-sections of their parent war cohorts, much as the dune-crawling caravans of Mars split off into war groups whenever conflict darkened the horizon. Each maniple peels off from the wider cohort under the direction of a Skitarii overseer, I guess the marshal now. They act autonomously, taking their place in a wider battle line or even walking for weeks in order to attack from a strategically advantageous location. Each battle maniple is centered around its Onagon Dunecrawler squadron, the machines data locking their escort into pre-established behavioral patterns to ensure their optimal efficiency. Mindling with formidable long-range firepower and close assault capability, the maniple works in uncanny concert to ensure the enemy's downfall. By the way, back then you could take squadrons of Onagon Dunecrawlers, so they can be squadron up to 3, so you can take 3 Onagon Dunecrawlers for a single battle maniple. So yeah, pretty cool, eh? If you think the battle maniple wasn't enough and you want to run more than one of each unit, well, you have a super formation that's made out of several formations, and I should introduce to you the war cohort. So what exactly is the war cohort? Yeah, it's basically 3 battle maniples, as you can see in the previous slide. So basically what happens is that, again, there are no restrictions, but you basically just need to take the battle maniple from earlier and just multiply it by 3. So yeah, uh again, if you I guess the bonus for you is that you can choose to reuse a doctrina imperative that your army had already used earlier in the game. I think I should talk about the doctrina imperatives. Back then we have these weird doctrina imperatives that you can select each battle round, and then your Skitarii will get bonuses to their ballistic skill, but in return they get, I guess, their weapon skill nerf or something like that. So for example, you can increase your ballistic skill by 3, but your weapon skill gets nerfed by 2. So it becomes up to, I guess, ballistic skill 7 and weapon skill 2 or something like that. Yeah. So for single barrel turn, you can do the opposite as well if you want to focus more on melee, because your Sidonian Dragoons, your Rust Stalkers or Infiltrators are about to charge and get into close combat. You want to improve your weapon skill instead, you can do that too. So you get +3 weapon skill, -2 ballistic skill, and they're varying degrees. So you could just do +1 weapon skill or just +1 ballistic skill with no detriments. Whereas if you start to go higher than that, like +2 weapon skill or +2 ballistic skill, you get -1 for your other characteristic. So it's something like that. So now this is very powerful because you get to use. Normally you can only use it once per game, but each one once per game. I mean, each doctrina imperative once per game. But now this one allows you to use one of them twice in a single game. So that's what's happening here. And as you can see, formations are designed to milk the players of their cash. I don't think anyone cares about war core, though. I think most people just go with the Battle Maniple because it's simply part of one larger Adeptus Mechanicus army. Instead, I think the Battle Maniple is a prerequisite to the super popular at the time super formation, the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. So that's what it is. That's the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation, as you can see in the background. So the Skitarii Battle Maniple is just one formation we need it, and you also need a Cult Mechanicus Battle Congregation, which is something like this. Yep. That's so basically, yeah. Uh, there's obviously a typo, probably because of the Skitarii Codex, both of them being released in close order. The Skull is meant to be the HQ, not troops. But yeah, this was back then when the Tech Priest Dominus was your only HQ, and you can only ever take one for your army. Now we are encouraged to spam characters to attach them to units for battles, but back then characters were independent characters that you also attach to units, and if they are Warlord, well, you get Warlord traits, so something like that, yeah. So yeah, for the Cult Mechanicus, the troops will be the Cataphrons, and as you can see, there are a lot of troops. Uh, you can only take two heavy support, but they only have like a single Castellan robot for their heavy support. So it's like, you can't take too many Castellan robots. Like now, if you run Cohort Cybernetical, then you can take 3 units of like basically a lot of Castellan robots. But yeah, so yeah. And returning to the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. So basically, it's made out of one Cult Mechanicus Battle Congregation detachment, one Skitarii Battle Maniple, and one Imperial Knight Sworn detachment, which basically means a single knight, basically. And if you do all that, you get all 3 of them. This is what you get. All units in the formation have the canticles of the Omnisire. So basically, they even the Skitarii and the Imperial Knight in your army, they get the Canticles of the Omnisire, which is usually only exclusive to the Cult Mechanicus. So it's pretty insane. And not only that, you might notice the Might of the Adeptus Mechanicus. All weapons and war gear options taken by units in this formation, including any Relics on Mars or Arcana Mechanicum, are free. And plasma weapons or weapons with a gets hot special rule that no longer gets hot. So your plasma weapons do not kill your Skitarii. Your plasma calibers, your plasma what do you call it? Plasma destroyers? I don't think. Plasma culverines. That's right. The plasma culverines on your Cataphron destroyers will no longer kill them on gets hot roll of once. So it's insane. I don't need to tell you how incredible that is. But yeah. And I like the bit of fluff, by the way. When Adeptus Mechanicus gathers his warriors for battle, its armies have the power to rival any who stand before them. Able to call upon the combined strength of alien nobles of the Knight Houses, the priesthood of Mars' most fanatical zealots, and legions of Skitarii, the panoply of military power at their disposal knows almost no limit. War convocations represent a formidable deployment of Mars' might, equipped with the best weapons, and technology and led into battle by a calculating Alpha Dominus. The Machine Brothers of War Convocation fight as a single terrible whole. So yeah, I'm gonna be a Skitarius for now, but yeah, to kind of represent the kind of thing here. This is, by the way, you could only get this in the White Dwarf, so you have to buy the White Dwarf magazine to get access to the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. It is not in any of the codexes. I think it's released after all 3 codexes were published. So yeah, but it was still, you still had to get a White Dwarf for it. Anyway, what was it? Sorry, let's go back to the Oswan Night Detachment. So Oswan Night Detachment is just 1 to 3 nights. Back then, people played 1,850 points instead of 2,000. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I'm as confused as you are about that weird arbitrary number, but yeah. But with the steep requirements of the Skitarii Battle Maniple costing almost half your army, most people can only take 1 night anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna be a knight. But the Adeptus Mechanicus War Conversion was ridiculously powerful, and yeah, I already talked about that. Needless to say, this was 7th edition at one of its finest, except that Space Marines took the cake with their free dedicated transports, Rhinos and Razorbacks, when they took the super formation known as Gladius Strike Force. I think that's a tale for another day, and I think Space Marine lore YouTubers can cover that. As you can see, I'm a Knight guy / Adeptus Mechanicus guy, so no. The point though is that you can tell that the Skitarii and Mechanicus are meant to be one combined army. Ideally, the War Convocation was supposed to be how Adeptus Mechanicus was run, and you're encouraged to combine them all together like that. Hence, the benefits and the free stuff, and the White Dwarf. Unfortunately, you only appeared in White Dwarf. It also got people to buy all the shiny new models from the Skitarii and Cult Mechanicus line. I know I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, although I think I would have done something similar anyway, because I always wanted to play Skitarii. I love robots, so I would have gotten the Castellan robots anyway, and I already had knights, because Imperial Knights are my first army. But why have built the Cataphron destroyers as the plasma variants? Why have bothered with the Sicarian infiltrators or even the Iron Striders? Maybe not. I mean, now I like the Sidonian Dragoons because I like the big taser lances. So yeah, I probably would have gotten the Sidonian Dragoons anyway. But because of the formation, I ended up assembling the Infiltrators, the Cataphrons, the Iron Striders that I might not otherwise have gotten. So yeah, you could tell that this is really brilliant marketing strategy. And despite all the complaints from all the various fans and gamers, people still buy them. So I can't complain because I was one of them. So yeah. Well, I was new to the hobby back then, so even with this supposedly overpowered cheesy super formation, I couldn't win any games with them. I think my mentors or fellow gamers back then were telling me about target prioritization or something like that, which was I think I struggled with back then. I didn't know which targets to take out first, that sort of thing. But yeah, it was a learning experience though, and it was fun. But you'll notice that theme here. They were designed to be one combined army. Then 8th edition hit. Oops. Yeah, there you go, 8th edition. No longer Codex Skitarii, as you can see. Instead, it's Adeptus Mechanicus now, with both Cult Mechanicus and Skitarii rolled into one. No longer do we need to have any unique detachments without any HQ. The Tech Priest Dominus is our HQ now. I think they also added the Tech Priest engines here too, and this was the first time he moved from an elite to a HQ role because they realized that Adeptus Mechanicus had too little HQ options. This was because 8th edition when 8th edition hit and they reset everything, they had something called index. So the index imperium had listed the tech priest engines here as an elite choice instead of a HQ choice. So yeah. Oh yeah, not only were Cult Mechanicus and Skitarii combined into one book, guess what? We also have Questor Mechanicus or Mechanicus Knights data sheets in the book. So we actually had the five Questoris variants inside this codex. It was a really great time, yeah. Speaking of which, even before 8th edition, there was a precedent that showed they were meant to be the same army. We had Start Collecting Skitarii, where you guessed it, the HQ was the Tech Priest Dominus. It had its own special formation rules. This was back then when Start Collecting boxes were pretty popular and they were considered a formation in their own right. So if you fill them together like how the box had them built, you can see the box art with the Tech Dominus down there with the Onagin Ducal and Skitari squad. It was called the Dominus Maniple Formation. Apparently, you can pick an enemy unit within 18 inches and in line of sight to attack with Dominus, then all units in this formation reroll hit rolls against it during the shooting phase. It's pretty cool, but as you can see, the Tech Priest Dominus is clearly meant to be the HQ for Adeptus Mechanicus, so it's really silly to split the codexes. I think I already talked about this in the last video, so you can visit that for more details. So we come back to the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. But hey, do you think the War Convocation wasn't enough? Did you want something more excessive? Well, during the Gathering Storm campaign, particularly in 4th Cadia, we have something even more extravagant. Introducing the Conclave Acquisitorius. So yeah, you can see that. I don't know what to say. I don't know whether okay, I'll read it. With the rank of Archmagos Dominus comes the absolute authority to requisition whatever warriors, war machines, and weaponry are required to achieve the Cult Mechanicus goals, however shadowy they might be. Each time Belisarius' Call has sailed out into the cold gulfs of space to gather materials for his secret labors, the Archmagos has made full use of this privilege. Towering Imperial Knights stride into battle, their guns thundering as the enemy's fury washes ineffectually from their iron shields. Around their feet, advanced maniples of Skitarii and chanting masses of Electro-Priests, the Tech Guard and Cult Mechanicus fighting side by side under Call's direction. They're always supposed to meant to fight side by side anyway. Bolstered by the Archmagos' data sounds, the combined Mechanicus forces smash through all before them. So yeah, that's what you have. And by the way, I think you can basically the bonuses is getting one of your weapons gaining the Master Crafter special rule, And all the units in this formation, including the Count Mechanicus and the Imperial Knights, gain the Doctrina Imperative special rule, which is incredible now I think about it. So yeah, the Conclave Acquisitorius, or that's the what now? I don't know. I can't pronounce that stupid name. But yeah, Belisarius call 1 to 2 battle maniples or 1 war cohort, which is basically 3 battle maniples. 1 holy requisitioner. Yeah, like I said, that word is just so tough to pronounce. I believe there's a formation that requires a tech priest dominus and a couple of Cataphron ritual units, which I'll go into later. And then you get 0 to 1 cohort Cybernetical if you like the Castellan robots like I do. The Electro Priests, which are thankfully optional because I hate them. And even the Baronial Court of Imperial Knights, which gives you up to about around 3 to 5 knights if you think 1 to 2 from the Orson detachment aren't enough. So yeah, that's basically about it. But you're wondering what the hell the cohort Cybernetica and Holy Requisitioner and the Numinous Conclaves are. The Numinous Conclaves are basically 3 to 5 units of Electropris or something like that. So yeah, cohort Cybernetica, you get 1 Tech Priest Dominus and 2 Castellan Robot Maniples. So you have a lot of Tech Priest Dominus actually, now I think about it. But yeah, um, Tech Priest Dominus becomes a data smith uh, for some reason, and he gains the battle protocol special rules, which is basically you get to switch protocols for your Castellan, making them either tougher, uh, more better in combat, or they shoot better basically. So that's like the 3 protocols. So um the bonus I think is that in the shooting phase, any number of the formations, cybernetical data smiths or the tech priest dominus leading them can direct the fire of one of these formations Castellan robots instead of shooting. So it does that against split fire basically, because back then your units can't split fire. Split fire is a more of an 8th edition and beyond thing. So if you play Horus Heresy, you could probably be familiar with it. So back in 7th edition, all models in a single unit must shoot at the same target, because unless they have the split fire special rule. So yeah, Holy Requisitioner, as I said, 1 Tech Priest Dominus and a couple of units of Cataphron Breaches. And you can put them in Deep Strike, and they all come in as a single formation uh, when you make your reserve rolls, which you can even re-roll. That's actually pretty good. So you place your Tech Priest Dominus down, and then he doesn't scatter, and then as long as he's placed within 6 inches of objective marker. And then the Cataphron Breaches join him, and they all teleport together and start killing out things. Because when they're within 6 inches of an objective marker, they get counter attack and Zealot, which, if I'm not mistaken, Zealot allows them to reroll hit rolls in close combat or something. I can't remember, but yeah. So that's the kind of crazy stuff that we get when we fill them together. Obviously, nobody failed this because it was too much. I don't think anybody failed this because it's really too much. It's like impossible to fill all this. You see all the requirements in a 1,850 or 2,000 point games, yeah, because you need a lot. So I think everyone stuck to the War Convocation instead. But hey, what if you want to play Adeptus Mechanicus normally as they were intended, instead of being forced to split them between the Skitaria and Count Mechanicus? Well, 4th Cadet has you covered too. We call them the Grand Convocation Detachment, which is just a fancy name. This is just basically simply a normal force organization chart or combined arms detachment for Adeptus Mechanicus. Obviously, if you really want to min-max for the benefits, you can try to max out the units in the detachment, but again, nobody did that because it's highly impractical and you can't fit them all under 2,000 points. So unless you play like gigantic apocalypse games, there's no way you can max them all out for the uh what's that, Nospheric Choir benefit. So yeah, so just forget it. Furthermore, this only increased the number of books you had to cut around. Like, come on, first we had to get the Skitarii Codex, then you had to get the Count Mechanicus Codex. That's 2 books. Oh, and the White Dwarf issue, for the sake of completeness, it was issue 69, released on May 23rd, 2015 for the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. Wait, that's not all. You want to fill your knight, you need the Imperial Knight Codex too. So you're carrying around 3 codexes and a White Dwarf magazine just to play a single army. And now, instead of that White Dwarf magazine, you're asking us to swap it out for a 4th book in the form of called Fall of Cadir, which was the first book of the Carrying Storm series. So in addition to the bulky army case, we also had to find space for 4 books and potentially a magazine. Yikes. Another thing, considering that the rules are all over the place, you have to flip around. Knight datasheets are in the Imperial Knight Codex along with the Baronial Court rules. So this is the Baronial Court. The Warlord traits and other upgrades. I believe the Warlord goes up to Ballistic Skill 5 and Weapon Skill 5, plus have a 3-up Invulnerable save. And then you need to refer back to 4 Arcadia for the overall super formation benefit, which is it will not die for vehicles or mastercrafted or something. So what is it? All vehicles in this detachment has the it will not die rules. And if you are within 6 inches of HQ, you get power of the machine spirit, which basically means they get split fire. You can split fire the weapons of your honor Gintu caller or Castellan robots. The knights already get inherent split fire because they are super heavy. So super heavy have their own they follow their own rules, so you don't have to worry about that. But the thing is that you'll be flipping around back and forth around the codex trying to search the relevant rules and data sheets. As fun as theory crafting was, doing all that bookkeeping in the middle of a game was not practical or enjoyable. Not to mention the look on your opponent's face as he impatiently waits for you to look up your needlessly complex rules. Uh, Thankfully, Games Workshop realized this was a bad idea and said screw it. They virus bombed 7th edition and formations to oblivion and reset everything. So 8th edition was much better, at least until the mess that was Psychic Awakening, but I think even Psychic Awakening was better than the catastrophe that was formations. Like I said, the 8th edition Adeptus Mechanicus Codex wisely combines Hitarii, Cult Mechanicus, and even the Old Sworn Questa Mechanicus, basically Mechanicus Knights in Logotic into a single book, which clearly illustrates that that was the intention all along. And then you have the new Warhammer app that makes referencing all the relevant datasheets and rules so much easier. I think what was it? They even have the new Battle Forge or something that allows you to just look at your list and consult whatever datasheets rather than just scrolling through every single datasheet in the index or whatever codex that you have in the app, which really makes things a lot more convenient. And yeah, it's a really nice change from the dark days of 7th edition where you have to cut around all these different books and flip through them. Oh gosh, yeah, that gives me nightmares. Yeah. The Knights were taken out of the 9th edition codex, but they already had their own Imperial Knight codex, which was further expanded upon with the addition of Armigers and the Dominus chassis. So you could argue that they didn't really need them anyway, but 9th edition did accommodate for Knights via the Knight of the Cock, which was cool. But back to 7th edition. At the end, the rules team was trying to put, Skitaria and Cult Mechanicus back together as a single army, either through formations or even fluffy detachments like the Grand Convocation, like this one. But that only contributed to making 7th edition even more of a convoluted mess. With destruction of Arcadia and Rupti Guilliman's resurrection, however, 7th edition came to a close, along with all the ridiculous formations and bloated rules and dozens of books needed to play your armies. And thus ends a page of Games Workshop and Warhammer 40,000 history. Still, despite the clear flaws and problems, it's still kind of fun to look back at history and all the cool stuff. There's definitely potential there, especially you see the enemy as thematic as the Adeptus Mechanicus War Convocation. Just as long as you don't min-max them, because it's not fun for your opponents as well. Giving benefits to encourage people to run thematic armies was a good start, but when everything started becoming free and excessive, I think that's when it got way out of hand. So free war gear and equipment, that's just insane. Well, yeah, I guess I don't know if you guys like this series or enjoy reading this series, but maybe I'll do more retrospective articles in the future if you guys want to. I might actually look at some of the old campaign books back then, the ones with all the weird 7th edition formations and lore. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. But next week I think I'll be doing on the Legionis Auxilia instead because I don't think anyone's doing on them. So I might as well do a video on that so that people know what the hell the Legionis Auxilia are. So until such a time, yeah, till then, bye.